Is my hair all weird? Whatever. Obviously I don't do these videos to be beautiful. It's just me. Just me in the flesh. More or less flesh, depending on which version of this video you are watching. Hey, hissy buddy. How you doing? Come on. It's okay. It's okay, Mr. Spicy. You didn't even hiss at me. That's new. Mr. I refuse to eat, so mommy has to take me to the vet 4 times a month for $50 each to get force fed. Yeah, you little shit. How to do, everybody? This is a new space to record in, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. It might sound kind of weird. I'm still working on it, still rearranging my dead mom's room turned study, so apologies if this video is not the best quality, but you're used to that, aren't you? Hello and welcome everybody to Topless Topics, a channel that seeks to destigmatize female toplessness through repeat exposure. I'm your host Cleo, and today I want to talk about bullying, both from the perspective of the bullied ed and the bullier, and also, you know, children's both from the perspective of the bully ed and the bullier, and also about children's bullying and adult bullying, and you know, some of the nuances between the two. I will say that if you are watching this intro right now, I should warn you, you are watching the extremely censored version of this video. If you are new here, you probably don't know that I have a dedicated cabal of haters, as I affectionately call them, who go from video to video. Everything I post, they mass report it, whether or not it actually breaks any community guidelines, and gets it banned by the algorithm. So I'm just constantly, you know, jumping through smaller and smaller hoops, trying to find a way against that. It doesn't really matter what's actually in the video. All they have to do is report it. So enjoy this video while you can. Or alternatively, if you'd like to see the real version of this video, you should go over to toplesstopics.org/bullying, and you can watch the real version of this video, aka the one without a shirt. Okay, buddy, I'm gonna put you in my lap while I take off the shirts. Stay, sit. Oh yeah, you don't have legs. Well, you know, whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, let's try this again. Just 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. No, you're escaping. Ah, come back. So yes, I decided to hold Azzy, as I shorten his name, Aziraphale, in this video. Sorry if you're afraid of snakes. You can just watch the censored version, I guess, where I'm gonna have a giant handmaid tale type hat and habit, covering everything from, you know, here down to make sure that it's appropriate for YouTube. Because YouTube hates women. Anyway, and hopefully you're watching this at toplesstopics.org/bullying. I always make a page on the website where I have relevant links and description and everything like that. So if you're not watching it on that website, you're just watching it straight on Shom, you should go watch it. Embed it to that page. Anyway, today I wanted to talk a little bit about bullying, both as the bully ed and the bullier, and also some of the differences between child versus adult bullying. And as usual, this is off book. I'm just kind of, you know, spitballing here. Maybe someday in the future I will you know, do a more organized version of this video, but today is my first day to record relatively unbothered. If you didn't know, my child brought home COVID 2 weeks ago, and we have just all been on top of each other. My husband obviously also didn't go to work, and we've all just been getting very sick of each other. So today, this is the first day. We all tested negative yesterday, and Link is at school. He's getting an early day out, but whatever, I have a couple hours, and Matthew is at work. So it's just me, my dad, and my 3-year-old, who is downstairs watching TV because I am a terrible mother and it's the only way I can get anything done. Cool. All right. So bullying. So why is bullying on my head? In my mind, in my head right now. Because unfortunately, my deepest fear appears to be coming true. My own child is turning into a bully. Yay. So I have a 3.5-year-old and I have a 5.5-year-old, and they are both boys. And while I think that gendered stereotypes, about behavior and stuff are ridiculous, for instance, my husband has a year older sister who beat the crap out of him regularly as a kid. They are wild. They are very high energy. They will fight over everything. They'll fight over like a cup. They just sort of decide whatever one has, the other one wants. So they do squabble a lot. However, they love each other. They constantly say they love each other. Sometimes they'll have a good moment where they'll actually share or hug or whatever. So, it's not like they hate each other. It's just they're young and exuberant boys. Doesn't help that we're still in a pandemic also, so we can't really safely have hangouts with other kids or whatever. So they don't get a lot of experience with kids outside of our family. Link started kindergarten August. So he's been in school for, however many months, 5, 6, 7, I don't know. I'm not going to do the math right now. And it's interesting because I had a parent teacher with his meeting with his teacher like a month or two ago. Just a, one that every parent had, not like a your child is in trouble one. And she's this older lady, kind of grandmother type, but she can be very firm if she needs to be. And she said that in school, Link is a sweetheart, that he's very generous, that he is always saying he loves her like 4 times a day and everything like that. Hopefully keeping his hands to himself, both because of COVID and also just consent, stuff like that. But she says he's a sweetheart. However, there's eggs stuck in my mouth still. Anyway, whatever. Just let's do this video. I'm not going to think about it too much. However, he rides the bus to and from school. And for some reason, he Jekyll and Hydes on the bus. He lays on the floor, which is weird. He wouldn't sit still in the seat, so I gave him a fidget cube thing or whatever. Found out right before he came home with COVID that apparently he's been using the fidget cube to annoy kids, like sticking in their face and everything like that. And the Friday before we ended up staying home 2 weeks, he actually made a kid cry on the bus, repeating what the kid was saying and like shoving his toy and everything, not touching the kid, from my understanding or anything. But yeah, he made a kid cry, and it really hit home for me because I was severely, severely bullied growing up, to the point where I had suicidal ideation. And I used to watch the Wonder Years, that older show with the like loser kid and his best friend who was also quote unquote loser, and I used to fantasize about having a best friend like that because I had no good friends. Everyone was just mean to me, so hearing that he made this kid cry, I became very emotional, because I was like, Link, I had a really, really hard upbringing, and I don't want you to experience what I did, but I also don't want you to perpetrate what I did. And I started crying, he started crying, I didn't even yell at him. I just told him a little bit about how I was, what I went through. And I said, you're not gonna have friends if you're like that. You're gonna, because he talks about wanting to make friends, and he says he has a hard time making friends, but then other times he talks about all his friends, so who knows. But I had a conversation with him, and I was going to be driving him to school for a week instead of him taking the bus, which I don't want to do because it's a pain in the butt, and also because I never got to ride a bus as a kid, and for me, I probably would have been bullied also on the bus. And some of I asked my followers, like, what was, if you rode the bus, what was your experience? And it was sort of half and half. Half said that they really didn't like it, and then half said that it was a fun time to, like, talk to friends and stuff. So, if he were to start saying, like, oh, kids are beating me up or, whatever on the bus, then yeah, I would drive him. But as far as him being the instigator, I am hoping I can snap him out of it and have him not do that. So defining a bully, I'm trying to be hesitant about this because I don't want to be one of those parents who just thinks like their kid can do no wrong. Like, both of my kids can be horrible little shits, and I mean, so can I. Everyone has the capacity to be a little shit. And they're learning. They're still learning how to be good people. Like I said, they don't have experience with other kids very much, so they don't really understand that stuff that's okay to do with your brother, like roughhouse and stuff like that, you really can't do with other people, not unless you know them really, really well and you know that they're okay with it. And it's a learning lesson. Speaking, you know, of adult bullying, I think a lot of us still have a hard time understanding that. We don't, you know, the question is always, what's more valid, what I meant by what I said or how they took it? And I'll get into that in a little bit, because I do think that it's honestly, it could probably be its own video, but whatever. So you know, I told Link that I was going to drive him for a week. I told him no electronics for a week, which is hard. It is as hard on me as it is on him, because that means that I don't get any break from him. But you know, but then he came home with COVID and we were home for 2 weeks. So, yesterday he tested negative and he stayed there the rest of the day. And then today I put him on the bus. The day that he had gotten home from bullying the kid, I sat with him and we wrote an apology letter. And then in the middle of the letter, he drew a picture of them like playing on a slide and everything like that. And I'll show you the picture here because I think it's really cute. And so I had him give it to the kid and everything this morning. And instead of a fidget cube, I gave him a drawing pad, and I tied it to his bag. So hopefully he doesn't lose it, because he loves drawing. And you know, it's exciting for me because I'm a very artsy fartsy person. I love to draw and crochet and cosplay and stuff like that, so if I can share that with him, that'll make me really happy. But yeah, so we'll see how that comes. I told him if I do have to drive him to school, he's gonna get no electronics for the rest of the year, except when Matthew's watching him. And then of course it's different, because yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. Link almost killed my last remaining salamander last night, apparently. He got it out of the cage without my husband noticing and like squished it, and it didn't move for a long time, but then it started moving again, so I'm not sure if it's actually hurt or if it was a defense. But that's another thing that actually has to do with the video, because it's sort of a method of bullying. Getting back to that, I don't want to be one of those parents that's just like, my kid can do no wrong. But I do think that there's factors at play. Like I said, they don't have much experience with other people outside of the family. They're still learning how to be good people. And empathy is something that I think has to be learned, to some degree. I think a big part of empathy is, like I said, you have to understand that just because you mean something as a joke or whatever, the other person won't necessarily take it that way. It can be because your tone is different than what you realize. It can be, you know, their own growing up stimuli or whatever. For instance, when I was bullied as a kid, and, you know, thinking about it now, it's like, why did that, those were stupid. Why did that affect me so much? But again, it's not so much what is being said, although that is a factor. It's the intent behind it. It's, are they actually kidding? Are they trying to make me feel bad? You know, all these factors. And so I don't think Link wanted to make the kid cry. Like I said, he started crying when I started crying. And like, I really think he didn't realize how intense and annoying he was being. I also don't know this other kid at all. I don't know how easily triggered this child is as far as getting emotionally upset. You know, some kids are just, as they call them, sensitive kids. Like our neighbor's kid, who's a couple years older than Link, he's better, or I don't want to say better, because I mean, it's okay to be emotional. I'm emotional too. But he used to be more easily upset, and like Link would follow him around and hold his hand and stuff, and he was like, get away from me. Now they actually play together, they play video games together, they sometimes play Legos and stuff like that, so I think they get along better. But, you know, Link is not like that. Link is a very forceful personality. But he's still the same kid that when he was a baby or like a toddler, he would start crying if you had like a scar, like an old scar. He would look at it and you start going, well, you got a boo-boo. Like, he's empathetic. He just doesn't really realize how intense he is. And that is something that I really, really relate to, because I have always struggled to be likable. I'm trying to talk about this without being emotional. I don't know why. It just always makes me kind of want to cry. I'm annoying. I'm annoying. I understand it. I don't exactly accept it. But at this point, you know, I'm turned 36 in November, and I'm always trying to be better. But at the same time, I understand that, you know, I'm never going to be one of those people that just magically knows exactly what to say so that everyone likes them and you know, stuff like that. And another subject I could get into in another video is, you know, how the more you try to be likable, usually the harder time you have achieving that, because people can smell the desperation. But yeah, trying not to make this video like half an hour long if possible, like most of my videos, only half an hour. So I have always had a hard time making friends, and I have never had it confirmed, but I'm pretty sure I'm on the spectrum. You know, you go through the checklist and I hit almost every one of them. And it's not because I don't want to be likable. Like, you know, you have people that are like, I'm an asshole and, you know, I'm proud of it, or I don't care about it. Like, I don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to make people feel bad. And when I do make someone feel badly, I feel really bad about it. And that's unless they're a Trump or an anti-vaxxer, in which case, fuck them. But especially in person, like trying to make friends and, you know, just talking to people randomly, I want to be liked, and not just like fake liked. You know, I want to be genuinely fun to be around. But I suck at that. And I talk too much, and I talk about myself too much. I don't mean it like I don't want them to talk about themselves, like I would like them to talk about themselves, but I'm not good at saying the right thing to make people like me. And I think that Link has some of that, where he just, I mean, he has the excuse of being young. I don't have that excuse. I just suck at social interaction. He hasn't learned the skills yet to understand that what he says and how he says it are not necessarily received the way that he's trying. So all that is to say, I don't think he's trying to be a bully. I don't think he's trying to make people feel badly. I think that he just doesn't really have the skills yet to recognize when he's being like that and to stop it. So we'll hopefully see if we can train him to not be like that. Maybe if this pandemic either becomes endemic, I mean, it's not ending, but, you know, if we get to the point where, you know, he gets a vaccine, like a flu vaccine twice a year, and that keeps him at least from dying, because that's what vaccines do. They don't stop infection, they stop you from dying. He can start having parties again, and, you know, birthday parties and stuff like that, and playing with other kids besides his brother, especially with me there to guide his behavior. Because that's the thing about school, is I'm not there. I'm not, you know, on hand to say that's not appropriate behavior. So, as I said, I was bullied pretty much nonstop growing up. And I've never quite understood why. I think it's a self-propagating cycle. You know, something about me, I used to be very quiet. I probably cried easily. I don't really remember. I kind of blacked out a lot of those memories because they're so traumatic. But just something about me made it easy and fun to bully me, apparently. And, you know, you'd have the mean girls and the mean boys and everything like that. And they would start bullying me, and then other kids would see it, and, you know, crab bucket mentality. They think for me to be popular, I have to be mean to her too. And even when people weren't an outright bully, like I said, I dreamed about having one loser friend, because I didn't have that. I didn't have friends. I would play with the other kids on my street sometimes, but it was mostly lack of choice. In school, I was mocked. People would say mean stuff to me. I didn't get physically beat up a couple of times, and when it happened, my parents came down like a stack of hammers on the school to be like, "You're letting my child get physically accosted." But, you know, you don't have to be physically beaten to hate your life. Sorry. obviously this is a trigger for me because I don't know if I should cut this out or not. Like this. Jesus, what the fuck? I'm sorry, this is real. Fuck. I had a very hard childhood. And it's obviously caused some very deep psychological issues for me that I'm still not over, apparently. And of course my nose is running because, you know, not a pretty crier. So, I don't want my kid to be a bully. I don't want him to ever make people feel badly. I don't think he wants to make people feel badly. I just think that he doesn't understand. Now we move on to adult forms of bullying. So I'm pretty nihilistic. I'm pretty pretty misanthropic. There you go. That's a proper word. I think that people by nature are pretty fucking horrible. I think that it is very easy to default to meanness, to selfishness, to pettiness, to, you know, me versus them. Like I said, I think empathy has to be learned. I think you have to make a conscious effort to see the world from someone else's perspective and to understand, sorry to repeat myself, but to understand that the way you meant something isn't necessarily the way people take it. Now there's more factors to that as well. Like I said, you know, the way someone reacts to what you say is not dependent just on what you say and how you say it. It's also dependent on what their life has been like. For instance, as you just saw, I still have a lot of emotional trauma from all the bullying that I endured as a kid. And some people are blessed with a temperament where bullying really doesn't bother them. My husband says that people tried to bully him growing up and it kind of was just water off a duck's back. He just like didn't care. I don't know if that's him, you know, remembering his childhood differently than it actually was, but that is not the same for me. I cared very much. I still care. Not as much. I say this a lot, but it does help to, especially online, look at someone's comment history and realize that those horrible things they're saying to you, they say it to everybody. It actually has nothing to do with you. The old adage is hurt people hurt people. Basically as an unhealthy coping mechanism, if it can count as coping, because I don't think it makes them feel better either, is because they had, you know, trauma or whatever, they are mean to other people. And again, it's not everybody. For all the trauma that I went through, I honestly don't want to hurt people, but other people react differently. A lot of it especially based on your family. I am very lucky that my family has been, for the most part, not very toxic. My dad watches my videos sometimes, so I'm not going to go too much into detail. Let's just say there was a fair amount of passive aggression in my household growing up from basically everybody, and also my mom was very prone to yelling at me, and I didn't get along with her at all, basically until, you know, she became a grandma, and then all of a sudden she was like a lot softer and nicer, and I was like, where was this when I was growing up? But you know, a lot of people come from much worse households where there's not just yelling, but there's, you know, calling their kids stupid or, you know, cussing them out. There's of course physical violence, but again, you know, it doesn't take physical violence to really destroy someone, to, destroy their life. And I won't say that emotional, I'm not gonna, it's not a who got hurt the most contest, but yeah, anyway. So, going back to what I was saying, I think that people are shit, people equal shit, and you have to learn empathy, and empathy has its rewards, but they're not, I don't think they're immediate rewards. I think, again, I don't like hurting people, so I can't say from a first-hand accounting if this is what it feels like. Let me know, you assholes in the comments right now, if this is true for you. I think that people that bully at least get a momentary thrill from it. It's the whole, I feel shitty about my life, so I'm gonna punch down, and that'll make me feel better about my life. Again, I don't understand the appeal of that, but... and then, of course, social media makes it so much worse. It becomes so easy not only to say something shitty, but to say something shitty and disappear, and you don't see the damage that you caused. And it becomes a contest for a lot of people, especially if you hang out in really toxic places like 4chan and, a lot of subreddits and or just, a toxic circle on Facebook that rewards each other, like, oh yeah, epic, oh, and you sure showed that, you sure showed that libtard. There we go. Kind of mentality. And so not only are you throw out one shitty comment, and then your toxic peers are like, yeah, good job. And so it's a reward system to be more and more toxic. It's also, people don't want to admit that they're hurt, especially guys who are still raised to be told that showing emotion, showing sadness or whatever as a guy is a sign of weakness, and, is beta male, which is a fucking nonsense term, behavior. So the only appropriate response, according to our culture, for a male when he's hurt is to get violent and angry in return. And so just a lot of fucked up factors that determine how someone replies to bullying and if they bully in return. I guess the final part of adult bullying that I wanted to address, actually, well, a couple things. One thing is there's also, for instance, concern trolling, which a lot of trolls don't really think of it as trolling, I think. Concern trolling is basically where you use something that someone's doing as an excuse to express concern, but do it in a way that's not constructive, but is actually, an attack. For instance, people are so weird. So I got a puppy recently. Long story short, I wanted another dog to play with my dog, and I wanted a dog to play with the kids, because our dog is 6 years old and he's just not really playful anymore, especially not with the kids, because the kids don't really know how to interact with him in a playful way. So I got a puppy. Adopt, don't shop. It took me a long time to find one that gets along with dogs, cats, and people, young kids. Luckily, she has been adjusting pretty well, I think. We're still having issues with potty training and very aggressively jumping on tables to eat human food and just... But anyway, so I got this puppy recently, and I've been doing these casual vlogs where I do them shirted so I don't have to deal with the censorship, although I've had fully clothed videos taken down by my dedicated cabal of haters reporting it for bullshit reasons, and then YouTube goes, oh, okay, this must be medical disinformation, or she's naked, even though she's wearing fucking a buttoned-up shirt, and down the video goes. Anyway, so I've been doing these vlogs, and I did a vlog where I talked about the puppy or whatever, and some random person left multiple comments accusing me of saying that now that I got this puppy, my other dog is being neglected and like all this other stuff. And it was just so weird, because it's like, You don't know me. You don't follow my videos at all. Why the fuck would you suddenly assume that because I got a puppy, I'm totally neglecting my 6-year-old dog? Like, you can love multiple animals at the same time, just like you can love multiple people at the same time. So, you know, and it's fascinating to me why someone would say stuff like that. Like, I don't really think they give a shit about whether my dog is having a hard time or not. I think they are seeing it as an excuse to insult me. Or for instance, like I said, my snake has not been eating, and I've had multiple people say it's because my snake is depressed. And first of all, reptiles don't really get depressed. And also, why would he be depressed? Like, I give him a wonderful tank. I give him multiple different kinds of foods, scented differently and everything like that. Like, why would you assume my snake was depressed? Different heat sources to choose from, humidity levels, etc. But it's just, again, concern trolling is basically where someone uses something, some perceived flaw to insult you, to critique you. How does that relate to bullying? As adults, people have to be a little more tactful, or they don't have to be, but some people do try to be more tactful in how and why they bully people. For instance, fat shaming is another, slut shaming, fat shaming, that kind of thing is another world ripe for concern trolling, where you'll have people say absolutely horrible things to fat people, and then they'll say it's because they're showing the person, that they should change. They're shaming them so that they know that it's not good for them to be fat and they should lose weight. And I don't think most people that say that actually believe that. But if you do, why would you think, like, to think that someone is unaware that they're fat in our society is pretty unrealistic. There is a growing level of fat acceptance among, progressive groups. Whole other thing. There is some progress being made, but still the majority of people are going to say shitty stuff to fat people, and a lot of the shitty things they say, again, the person saying it doesn't think of it as shitty, but because that fat person has a lifetime of hearing, comments like that, odds are they're going to have a lot of background triggers that make what that person said far worse, or, have all this extra meaning. Slut shaming also, saying like, oh, if a woman sleeps with multiple guys, she's like loose. Or, my videos, I often get told I have no self-respect, or I'm just doing it for attention, etc., because it's an excuse for people to say mean things to somebody. So I kind of lost my train of thought what I was going to finish with that. But yeah, so anyway, I just I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about bullying. I'll probably do a video someday in the future that's more structured. I have been watching a lot, well, not a lot, but I've been watching more videos from creators like Tiffany Ferg, who does a lot of like internet culture breakdowns and stuff like that, and that stuff really interests me. And she does it more from like sort of half her side of it and half researched. I was thinking maybe I would do like kind of reaction videos to her videos, and not just her. And I mean, like, if there's other channels that you can recommend that talk about internet culture, YouTuber culture, influencer, I hate that term, culture, phenomena, like how, the psychology behind what happens with that kind of stuff, then please, recommend them. But yeah. So anyway, that's that, I guess. I'll wrap this up. Thank you for following me on this emotional journey. I hate that this is still such a trigger for me. I haven't really been, online bullied, but that doesn't, whatever, those people insult everybody, and it doesn't really affect me. It used to at the beginning of me making videos, but like I said, I kind of realized that it has nothing to do with me. It's just assholes being assholes. But when you're a kid, when you you know, I can't imagine how horrible it is for kids now who have the online bullying to worry about too, because we didn't, you know, people didn't really use the internet when I was a kid. And so, you know, there's a whole new aspect of bullying that kids have to deal with. I mean, the whole talking behind someone's back thing. Like, someone could spread a rumor, you know, say they have a message board that, you know, high school, most people use in not a message board, Facebook group, whatever. They say, like, so-and-so, you know, is a slut, or so-and-so still pees their bed, or whatever. And it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It'll spread like wildfire because people love to shit on other people. Again, people equal shit. So as damaging as my childhood was, I'm sure it's so much worse now. And that's why it's so, so, so important as my kids get older, as they learn to be full-fledged people, that I try my best to impact upon them that words hurt, actions hurt, and what is the payoff of hurting people? How does that improve your life to make someone else's life miserable? It doesn't. Much better to be kind. You know, you don't have to put up with shit. I'm not saying, like, turn the other cheek if people are being assholes to you. I've told him that if someone is saying mean things to him or whatever, in my experience, just trying to ignore the person doesn't work, because they'll just get more and more aggressive. What I think works is to just acknowledge that they're talking to you and be like, you know, they're like, oh, you're ugly. And be like, thanks for your opinion, bye. And then walk away. Like, show that they're not bothering you is what I think is basically the most effective way to deal with bullies. Obviously, if they're physically touching you, go tell a teacher. But in my experience, if you tell a teacher every time someone says something mean to you, the teacher does not give a shit and marks you as like a crybaby, and, you know, doesn't listen to your complaints as they get worse and worse. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Especially those of you who actually have kids. How did you talk to your kids about both how to deal with bullies and how to not be a bully? You know, I'm learning as I go, so I am totally open to parenting tips. I won't necessarily follow them, but I appreciate you sharing them. And yeah, okay. Do you want me to do more videos like this? I get all these ideas for videos, and I don't really want to script them because I have the like passion to just like turn a camera and talk about, you know, the subject, and I enjoy it. I have been having a flurry of ideas that I've been trying to write down of stuff that I want to do. For instance, I was just watching Tiffany Ferg's story time video where she was talking about this era of YouTube where everyone would just do story time and all the parasocial relationship problems with that and everything, and another one about oversharing and stuff like that. And I watch those videos and I'm like, oh, I have so many thoughts I want to share about this, but you know, I just want to make sure that someone out there is enjoying them if I do those videos, because, you know, I don't want to, again, I don't know how to be likable. I want to be likable. I want to not be annoying. I want to not accidentally be super blunt, which is another thing I didn't even get into, how I really have to struggle to not accidentally be too blunt. I'm just not good at subtlety. Anyway, but yeah, if you like this kind of video, if you find it useful or it helps you feel better about your life or whatever, let me know. If you have parenting advice for how to raise my children, both to know how to deal with bullies and to not be a bully themselves, please let me know. And if there's future subjects that you want to hear me ramble on about, again, let me know. I am still in the process of re-uploading, not all, but the less terrible of my old videos up to the Trom PeerTube, which is really small, but the owner of the PeerTube has told me specifically he will never ban my videos just for being naked. So I really appreciate having that resource. And I've been putting up the handmade tail censored versions of my videos up on YouTube. Again, it doesn't even matter what's in the videos, they can still get taken down because all it takes is the false flaggers reporting my content. But just gotta keep trying. And also I am very active on Twitter. If you want to talk to me, you know, one-on-one more often. We also have a Discord server that you can join, and basically the only rule is like don't post naked pictures in the main general, just because Discord unfortunately has rules about not safe for work. There is a not safe for work nudism room if that is what you want to post about, but and just don't be a fucking asshole, you can have, oops, sun came out. You can have heated conversations. I did a vlog recently, I know I'm just going on and on, but I did a vlog recently about an experience I had recently being yelled at for self-promoting in a room of another content creator that I really don't think was self-promoting, but you do you. And anyway, so yeah, if you want to talk to me more, I recommend either adding me on Twitter at Topless Topics, or joining our Discord and chatting with me and the other members of the Topless Topics community. And yeah, you can comment on YouTube. I don't read the comments that often because they tend to be pretty shitty, but okay, I'm gonna shut up now. Thanks for watching, and if you're being bullied, there's a suicide hotline. I don't know. I don't really know what to say to people who are being bullied. Just try to keep in mind that it probably, almost definitely has nothing actually to do with you. It's just hurting people, and try not to let it affect you as much as you possibly can. And if you are a bully, maybe stop being a bully. Maybe think, why are you being a bully? How is that helping you? And just don't do it. All right, you wanna sign us out, Azzy? Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye. I don't know why that's his voice. I don't know. Maybe his voice is like this. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay. Bye.